The sun will come out tomorrow. Alex stood at the edge of the crowd, his presence unassuming yet magnetic. He was the kind of person who seemed to carry an invisible weight, a destiny too large for most to comprehend. The collective, a group of seekers, dreamers, and survivors had gathered in a dimly lit room, their faces illuminated by the soft glow of candlelight. The air was thick with anticipation, as though the walls themselves were holding their breath, waiting for something to happen. Alex's sharp eyes scanned the room, always alert, always calculating. He had been through too much to let his guard down now. From childhood, he had been targeted dark whispers, strange occurrences, and even darker magic. Yet, he had always felt a strange protection, as though some unseen force was guiding him. He didn't know why he had come here tonight, but something deep within him had pulled him to this place, to this moment. The room fell silent as a figure stepped forward, not a speaker, but a presence of voice that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. It was as though the collective itself had begun to speak, their shared energy weaving a tapestry of words that resonated in the hearts of all who listened. The sun will come out tomorrow, the voice whispered, soft yet commanding. Yes, the sun will come out for you, collective. You are the lucky ones, part of the never-ending parade. Alex's lips twitched into a faint smile. Lucky? He wasn't so sure. His life had been anything but easy. He thought of the nights he had spent alone, staring at the ceiling, wondering why he had been chosen to bear such a heavy burden. The scars on his body and soul were a testament to the battles he had fought, battles that no one else could see. Even if it might not look that way, the voice continued, even if it might not feel that way, you are the lucky ones who have been blessed with a big and bright destiny. And this destiny is so bright that it makes many different people hate your guts. They hate you because you have been blessed with a beautiful destiny. Some of these people have been trying to stop you since childhood. Alex's mind flashed back to his earliest memories, shadowy figures, unexplained accidents, and the constant feeling of being watched. He remembered the day his childhood home had burned to the ground. The flames licking the sky as he stood helpless, clutching his mother's hand. She had whispered to him, "You are special, Alex. They fear you because of it." He hadn't understood then, but now, the pieces were starting to come together. Some of them are even responsible for sending you dark magic since you were an infant, the voice said, its tone growing darker. But there is a gifted detective, an agent, someone who holds a position of authority. This is a gifted individual who is now shedding light on an injustice that's being done to you. Because of that, there are federal indictments on the way. Alex's heart quickened. A gifted individual. He had always worked alone, trusting no one. But the idea of ally someone with the power and authority to expose the truth was intriguing. He thought of the countless nights he had spent poring over files, chasing shadows, always one step behind. Could this be the break he had been waiting for? They are coming for the ones who are guilty of cloning your phone, the voice warned, its tone urgent. These are people who have been interfering with your communications, and you are being warned. When these indictments come in, you are not to look back. You are not to look back at any of these people who are responsible for this. The room grew still, the weight of the warning settling over the collective. Alex's mind raced. He had always known his enemies were powerful, but the idea of federal indictments suggested a level of corruption far beyond what he had imagined. He thought of the faces of those who had tried to destroy him, the smug smiles, the cold eyes. They had underestimated him, and now, it seemed, their time was up. It makes me think of that story in the Bible about Lot and his wife, the voice continued, its tone almost mournful. Whenever God tells them, do not look back, and the wife looks back, and she turns into a pillar of salt. So, you are seriously being warned, just leave these people where they are. They deserve to sit and stew in their bad karma. Alex nodded silently. He had no intention of looking back. His path was forward, always forward, but the thought of his enemies facing justice stirred something deep within him, a mix of relief and sorrow. Relief that the nightmare might finally be over, and sorrow for the innocence he had lost along the way. Your ancestors are coming to collect from these people, the voice said, its tone shifting to one of reassurance. Especially against an energy here who only wants to restart an abusive cycle with you. This is someone who could be telling the truth about a fake funeral and a death plot. Something massive has changed within this person overnight. Alex's jaw tightened. He knew exactly who the voice was referring to, a figure from his past who had tried to destroy him, to convince others to work against him. This person had spread malicious, gossip, manipulated those around him, and even conspired with corrupt authorities. Alex remembered the day he had finally walked away, the weight of betrayal heavy on his shoulders. He had vowed never to look back, but the scars remained. This person started so much malicious gossip about you, the voice continued, its tone tinged with anger. Whenever you decided to finally leave their cheating ass, I'm also picking up on a corrupt cop that this person worked with. You are being warned to stay away from this corrupt cop. This is someone who could be exposing everyone that they worked with because this cop doesn't want to go to jail. Alex's eyes narrowed. A corrupt cop, that explained a lot. He had always suspected that his enemies had connections in high places, but this was the first time he had heard it confirmed. The idea of this cop turning on their allies was both satisfying and dangerous. Desperate people were unpredictable. They're both being haunted, the voice said, its tone growing softer. Something terrible, collective, money is going to end up falling into your lap. And not only is this gifted person exposing these people, but Archangel Michael is also helping to make these arrests of your karmic friends and family members who are so very pissed off that you seem to overcome every trap that they lay for you. Alex couldn't help but smile. The idea of his enemies being brought to justice by a higher power was almost too good to be true. But he knew better than to let his guard down. The fight wasn't over yet. One of these friends and family members will end up being convicted of 12 different felonies, the voice said, its tone firm. Whenever this is all said and done, much love. The room erupted into murmurs, the collective buzzing with a mix of fear and hope. Alex remained silent, his mind racing. He had always known he was different, that his destiny was tied to something greater. But now, for the first time, he felt a glimmer of hope. The sun would come out tomorrow, and when it did, he would be ready. As he stepped out into the night, the cool air brushing against his face, Alex felt a strange sense of peace. The road ahead would be difficult, but he was no longer alone. The collective, the ancestors, the gifted individual, they were all with him. And for the first time in a long time, he allowed himself to believe that maybe, just maybe, the sun would come out tomorrow.